Hit it.
Alright, so there's a Reddit AMA that happened yesterday. I asked one of the questions, we'll get to that over time. And it was Ask Me Anything. That's what the AMA is. And instead of trying to read it through all of this mess of a tree, on Discord, it's all confined. Oh wait, hang on a second. Is there a way I can like stop having this bubble here? I guess a bubble don't hurt much. Alright, so Reddit Open Alpha AMA with CEO Ian Proulx, and this is the entire transcript. Some questions were shortened and rephrased for clarity. So it's like all confined. And the first question is, when's the game releasing? And Ian said soonish, 2025. Happy to confirm it will not only be before December, but also before November. So at the very like maximum, the release window is like within like 7 months from now. So that's really exciting there. And then the next one is there a month estimate for release of the game? It's just basically the same thing above. Will you bring over maps from previous games? This is goofy to me. I read this morning. Ian said, "Great question. I can neither confirm nor deny these allegations, but I would say there is 100% chance that we might be." Like, okay.
What? What?
I think
What's
I
happening?
think if you twist his words just a little bit
I zoned out. What?
about bringing the maps from
Yeah,
SG1.
yeah. So,
Oh
yeah.
yes, I want.
Jokes
to give me-
aside,
Yeah,
not
but
ready to share specific of future maps, but just know there's a lot more maps coming.
yeah. Because what if they give us like a similar version, like it's similar? Does that count? I mean, I would count it.
Yeah. Will there be a way to choose what game modes you played in quick play like Splitgate 1? To be honest, we are experimenting with this. We are trying to balance making sure we have good variety and good player choice, while also making sure queue times are fast and no one's getting bots. Part of the trade-off here, though, is we probably won't have quite as many playlists active 24/7 as Splitgate 1 because that leads to longer wait times and such our bots games, which is a worse experience that we really don't want. Even if when we have a ton of players, which we are confident we will have when we start our big marketing push closer to launch, there will always be playlists that are not super active in certain regions at certain times of day. Think lower population server at like 3 a.m. with crossplay turn off. This is why games like Apex and Valorant only have a few playlists, even though they have larger player bases. We plan to have more playlists than them, but not quite as many as Splitgate 1. What exactly those playlists look like is to be determined. It will be based on what the community wants. What playlists do you think we should prioritize having a launch? Yeah, this is something I knew they were just gonna do. Because, like, the state of Splitgate 1 right now, it's like 12 different, like, playlists. And I don't know how many players there is on console, but there's only, like, what, like, maybe, like, 200 people at most playing on Steam.
Mm-hmm.
And you separate that across 12 different playlists. It's mostly just bot lobbies at that point.
That's not even considering how many people are just playing custom modes and they're not even in those playlists.
Yeah, there's a whole custom browser and everything, too.
Yep.
Well, we see the return of Zombie VIP in Splitgate 2. Not ready to share specifics of game modes that have not yet been reviewed, but if you have been playing the alpha, you will see we have a lot of control over the variables and rule sets of our various modes, and we have been testing a lot of different modes and played tests like low gravity, chaos mode, 4 teams of 2, hardcore modes, no respawn modes, etc. One thing we did not yet have for the alpha though, which we are working on now, is the ability to have custom loadout overrides. This will allow us to do a lot with game modes like Shoddy Snipers, for example. This one, it's pretty big to me because
Huge.
I was a bit concerned for this actually. Like I felt like every game mode was gonna be locked into their whole loadout system, and then this already confirms here that they are working on like weapon exclusive game modes like Shoddy Snipers, like Team SWAT. Maybe we have like laser tag have a return, like maybe it's like the Meridian Phasma or something. Like things like that. That's gonna be really cool. And not to
That'd
mention
be
gun
perfect for
game.
tournaments.
Not to mention gun game. Gun game was one of my favorites. Do gun game of all the weapons we have in Splitgate 2? That'd be wild.
Every
Uh,
game would be 45 minutes.
What inspired the movement most? This feels like Titanfall 2 meets Black Ops 3. You really nailed it. I see a more grounded, accessible take on TF2's design. How do you balance staying true to Splitgate 1 while opening it up to more players? You pretty much hit the nail on the head. That same movement inspired by Halo mixed with a little Titanfall 2, mixed with a little Black Ops 3. Gunplay is definitely mostly inspired by the older Halos, though with our unique take. Definitely trying to stay true to our original vision and what made the first Splitgate special, the gunplay, movement, portals, while taking it to the next level with the additional resources and learnings that we now have. Yeah, like this sliding and Splitgate 2 is like the most fun I ever had for like any shooter game. This is sliding around in general. Like I don't care too much about the portals. Just let me slide around everywhere. Like it's so much fun. Are you ever going to bring back map design similar to the first game? New maps are great, but I miss how many different places you could go on the maps of the first game. With the new maps, it feels a bit more generic. I'm not sure how else to explain. It's a balance, but we do have more maps that are closer to Splitgate 1 coming. I think Bypass and Eden are good examples of where our heads are at for a good balance of lots of portals and some verticality, but also not too friendly to portal camping. We want more maps like Stadium and fewer maps like Crag, if that makes sense. But we are always looking for feedback and adjusting accordingly, which is why we added more portal walls and floors portals to Ozone, Frontier, and Zenith. You can expect us to continue to adjust and iterate based on the feedback we get. How does 1047 face the challenges of being a fully remote team? I think we have 3 key advantages here over most other companies struggling with remote work. And overall, I actually think we are significantly more efficient as a result of being remote. We have remote since day one. This has allowed us to slowly grow and iterate on what works as a remote company over time versus having to pivot from in-person to remote overnight like many companies had to do. The second one is just like how we are always listening to feedback and improving and iterating on the game. We do the same with our company. One of our company values is feedback is a gift, and this applies to everything. It has allowed us to build an amazing culture at 1047 that values excellence, integrity, and fun, and it helped us build a great remote working environment. We are a video game company that actually helps a lot because our entire company are gamers, so we have an easy time socializing with each other by playing video games together. One of the interview questions is, what games do you play? This is super important for building good working relationships and new friendships. And I think it's a big reason video game companies could probably do a better job of remote work than most tech companies. We also do a company get together to meet in person every year. Any comments?
I'm just backseating and
All right.
listening.
Will there be
Yep,
more
most of it's
factions
the same.
added, or just more being added to the current 3? Probably not. Certainly not at launch, but there is a world where we add more factions post-launch. I am leaning towards not doing that though, and the game has been built from the ground up with 3 factions in mind. That said, we are always looking for community feedback, so if that is the direction for the community wants, that is likely the direction we would take. I don't think this is what the community wants, though, from what I've seen so far. So far, the only person I feel like that wants more factions is Coma. Like, Coma is like a
Really?
big, Coma's like a big believer of wanting more factions. There might be more, but
Like, is there a limit to how many he wants?
I don't know.
I don't see the point.
You gotta ask
Yeah.
him that, but
Yeah, I'll ask him about that.
my thinking is, so like if you add more factions, right, then
Mhm.
you're gonna have less content in the original 3, right? So
Yeah.
I think it's better to just keep adding more to the original 3, and not have it all spread out like very thin across all factions. So
I could understand the argument in making 4 factions because most of the time it's teams of 4. And then you see what I'm saying, that everybody could have their own and that would really strengthen your team.
yeah, but then you
I
have to
could,
worry about like
yeah.
if everyone wants to like benefit from all the team traits, right? Having 4 factions mean like 4 potential team traits, and it
Mhm.
just makes everyone like think like, oh, everyone's gotta have at least one per faction, and that will just be, it will just have a little less freedom. I feel if you do that when like
But it's
when
not
you're,
forced. So,
yeah,
yeah.
it's
I
not
mean, it's a
forced,
valid
but
argument.
it's not forced. But I feel like some players are gonna feel like, oh, we're missing a team trait. Can you please pick this faction? You know.
Yeah.
Like
But
I already do that on my own sometimes. Like if I see like a team trait the team's missing, I'll sometimes switch for us. It's like, hey, I'll get this team trait for us, and then we'll cover like let's say the
like,
hyper site and the time dome that we don't have.
yeah. I think about it in like in the future, right? So right now, 3 is perfect. It maintains enough of a simplicity that like a beginner can understand, hey, these are the strengths of each of the 3, right? And then maybe years down the road, you can introduce another one, right?
Yeah,
Like
and
after the game starts to get stale for people or something, you say, hey, we're going to introduce another faction. And since these are all from our solar system, maybe it's from outside of it, or I don't know. There's other things they can do. We don't even know what the actual lore is at this point.
yeah, and if they add like let's say they add like they have more than 4 factions, right? Then it's just like it just
Mhm.
becomes a balancing between like not just like all the loadouts and weapons, but like also like the team traits themselves do. Like which team trait is going to be the better 3 out of the 6 factions or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I think too much is too much though. I do agree with the way that Ian kind of views it about 3 being just enough. I would say, like I said, 3 or 4. Any more than that, I think is overkill.
Yeah, there might be other people that want more factions. That's just from what I know. That
Hmm.
I feel like Coma is the only believer that I know personally of wanting more factions.
Hmm.
But yeah, if you guys want more factions, just let the community, just let the devs know.
Get in
Um,
the Discord.
yeah. Are there gonna be more factions slash guns? He already answered about the factions, but for the guns, for sure. Factions, probably not. Depends on what the community wants. If you want more factions, you will get more factions. If you don't, you won't. From what I can see so far, we think 3 factions is the right amount. Do we get any special badge or cosmetic in the final game for participating in the open alpha? Do we get anything for maxing out a character's level in the open alpha? Yes, we have a skin for everyone who participate in the alpha, but not for maxing out, given that the alpha is a short window. We also are doing Twitch drops right now where you can get an Arrows Carbine skin. And of course, we have the Hunt the Dev skins that you get for killing devs. If you don't get it this time, though, we plan to bring back this event in the future, so don't worry. All skins you get in Alpha will carry over to the final game. Alright, this is a pretty big one here. Why make Splitgate 2 instead of overhauling an original? Games like Counter-Strike 2 and Overwatch 2 replaced their predecessors. Feels like every other game now is a sequel to something that no longer exists. What was the reasoning behind this What was the reason behind this decision? What was the reasoning behind this decision? Sorry guys, my throat's getting a bit dry here. Thank you, I really appreciate the kind words. There were a number of reasons we made Splitgate 2 instead of iterating on Splitgate 1. At a high level, our goal is to build the best shooter in the world, and one of that as many gamers as possible can enjoy. We felt like pivoting to Splitgate 2 would get us there for a few reasons, not in any particular order. Splitgate 1 started as a school project. This meant that the way we built things were not super scalable because we were still learning when we started. This is part of the reason our servers weren't able to scale well. But also the code base wasn't built in a way that worked for live ops or for larger teams all working on the same game at the same time. We have since redone the entire backend and basically re-architect all of our code base to make iterating faster and servers more scalable. Yeah, like when they, so like for this one, when they launch Splitgate 1 with console play, with crossplay and everything, they were expecting some people. They weren't expecting like what was it, like 70,000 people playing at once. They did not have the server capacity for that at the time. So with the start of that happening, and the servers was a big mess, and it took them like quite a long time to fix. I think it was like of course like over like a month or so. But yeah, the fact that they're like prepared for that now for Splitgate 2 it's good. Splitgate 1 was in Unreal Engine 4. We wanted it to be Unreal Engine 5 to have the best engine possible to set ourselves up for long-term success. It just don't have no kill cam.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say
The
so
biggest
far.
problem. No kill cam.
Yeah, apparently.
Unplayable.
Yeah, apparently
Uninstalled.
Unreal Engine 5 has like no kill cam right now, or something like that. We just have gotten a lot better. We are better at coding, better at art, better at animation, better at everything really. So we wanted to have a fresh slate so that we can have a cohesive and consistent high quality bar across the game. From a marketing perspective, it is a lot easier to get more buzz around a new game than buzz around a big update or a bunch of small updates for an old game. With all the changes and improvements we have made, we feel confident in saying that this is a true sequel and not Splitgate 1.5, like some of the games you might have listed. From a hiring perspective, we did not want to feel rushed to making hiring mistakes because of pressure to deliver updates to the live game. We have been able to build a truly world-class team by taking our time, including hiring the audio director from Halo. Oh, really? And the animation director from Call of Duty, and many other extremely talented industry veterans. Interesting. So yeah, all that's to answer the whole thing. Why didn't they just overhaul Splitgate 1? What specific improvements have you made to your content pipeline, and what can players expect in terms of content cadence for the Splitgate 2? A lot. For one, our company has gone from about 15 devs for Splitgate 1 to over 190 of the best devs in the industry and counting. So the speed, quality, and quantity of content that we can hit is significantly more in every way than Splitgate 1. You can expect 3-month seasons with large monthly updates, maps, modes, etc., and new things, feature modes, events, challenges, and more every week. We will have more specifics to share on this soon, but if there is one thing we have improved over Splitgate 1 dramatically, is our post-launch content pipeline. Alright, so we got potential 3-month seasons. What kind of game support plans? What kind of game support is planned? Battle pass, events, new maps / guns once in a while. I think regular seasonal updates with lots of new stuff is the key for a long-lasting game. Will there be a rank game on release? All that and more. Are there any plans for maps from Splitgate 1 to be remastered in Splitgate 2? Googly eyes. Always hated FPS games, but this one really brings a shine to the genre. Will there be any additional factions or weapons added to loadouts? Also wondering if you made the aces a bit squishier than the original Splitgate. Can't wait for this game to fully be released with all the goodies. Ian says, answer this one in another thread in more detail, but TLDR is more guns, yes, more factions, probably not. Not sure what you mean by squishier, but if you're asking about TTK, it's bound to be more or less the same as Splitgate 1. Thanks for the kind words. Any chance to bring the comics in some way? I noticed you guys stuck down Splitgate 2 companion app, and myself and ours was really looking forward to see the 5th comic to come. This one was asked by me. Ian says, to be honest, no. The app in comics are something I was never really a fan of and did not meet my vision. We have brought in new marketing leadership who I have been personally working very closely with to make sure everything we do in marketing matches my vision for the game. You can consider the comics not canon to our lore. That said, there is a world that we make an entirely new app post-launch, but it'll be very different. I think Destiny is a great example of what a companion app should look like. Juice in the chat says, I don't expect more comics, but I do want to see more lore. Yeah, more lore would be nice. How deep are you looking to go with cosmetics? Can you speak on that? Will there be earnable and grindable character outfits and cosmetics? The ability to grind for something exclusive to dedicated people keeps longevity, so I'm looking forward to the answer. We will have a future blog post discussing our live ops and cosmetics strategy. But yes, there will be some cosmetics for purchase and some that are grindable. I would say I think our cosmetics are some of the best in the industry. I can't wait for you all to see our amazing characters and gun skins. Our art team is actually cracked. Our lead weapons artist was the lead weapon artist for COD, and our associate art director worked on many of the characters and guns for Valorant. Yeah, I gotta be honest, for Splitgate 1 cosmetics, I feel like most of them are kind of like meh. Like maybe like 10%, like 10% or to like 20% maybe at most. I would say like, yeah, these are awesome skins. These skins are pretty cool. While the other
Yep.
80 or so percent, and I was like, it's kind of whatever. Game crashes on the Steam Deck after every game. Is that being looked into? It hasn't been a priority yet, but it would be, it will, but it will be good to go by launch. Okay, I was just making sure I was reading that right. Will you guys have collaborations with brands, other games, or artists for cosmetics? Maybe in the future, but right now we're just focusing on making a fun game with cool cosmetics that fits our lore and art style. Will there be a competitive playlist? And if there is, will there be Takedown 2? Not ready to chat specific feature modes, but I would say this: Takedown was my favorite mode in Splitgate 1. And I spent 70% of my time playing ranked modes. And the good news is I am in charge of making this game. And obviously, I want to make a game that's full of stuff I love playing. Yeah, so it's no
Takedown
surprise.
confirmed.
I mean, it's no surprise that like I highly doubt that they won't have ranked on launch. Like it's going to happen.
Yep.
Hey Ian, are you going to be adding a 120 FPS setting for the Xbox Series consoles and PlayStation 5 consoles for Splitgate 2? Please add 120 FPS setting to Splitgate 2 for Xbox Series console and PlayStation 5 consoles, please. Yes, didn't have it ready for alpha beat, but we are still working on a number of optimizations for PC as well. For PCs as well in parentheses. And this includes 120 FPS support for PS5 and Xbox Series X. We are also working on some things to reduce input lag. Yeah, for me, I know my specs are pretty low end, but I felt like it was just better run in a closed playtest compared to the open playtest. So like I'm hoping like maybe it'll improve over time, like maybe it'll be much better on launch. But we'll see. Especially when I'm like looking through portals, I've noticed like a lot of times my frame rates just goes like very low when I look through portals. Like I'm talking about like maybe like 15 to like 30 FPS. It's kind of hard to fight through that. And that's kind of why I kind of like just slide around most of the time to get around. Ian, dear, just how do you pronounce your last name? Thanks for the question. It's simple. Proulx. What's your favorite faction / weapon? It's a brass carbine. Interesting. I thought for sure Ian's favorite faction would be arrows. But alright. So yeah, that's the Red AMA.